75.
Is it really?
I have no idea.
All right. We are live and on the air for Twitch and YouTube. Both streams look good. So welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a early Monday morning and we are here mainly to provide support and answer any questions about our products and services. If you'd like to ask any of those or join our conversation, feel free to jump over to foolishtechshow.com. We have a couple ways you can join our IRC chat from there and talk with us directly. It is Monday, so usually we're going to do a specialized segment on some sort of tech tool or something of that nature. And today we're going to do Windows PE CDs, and I'm going to do it a little bit different this way. What we're going to try to do here is see if we can set up a Windows PE CD in the hour time that we have here. So I know that we can definitely do it because there's one way that's really easy to do it, but there's a couple other things you can do here and there, and there's lots of choices on how to set these up, especially since Windows 7 came out. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. But does anybody else have anything they want to start off the day with or talk about? Oh yeah, we do have something. Oh wait, go ahead. Go. You go.
Goodness, you're just rushing me now.
All right, well, take
Just
time.
sitting down.
Take time. Go ahead.
Good Lord, what am I thinking? I just wanted to say, nice shirt, by the way.
Thanks.
And I always say that, and you always go, I bought this at a thrift store. I didn't really know who the band was.
I did not. I didn't even know it was a band.
Yeah, that's a shame. Anyway.
Well, the way I found out it was a band was really interesting.
Okay. I thought it was you asking, me saying nice shirt.
It might have been, but we'll go with the other way that's a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
So I thought one day, I was like, man, you know what I want? Like, all the hippies have like these tie-dye, and that's not as like punk or metal or anything like that. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tie-dye with bleach and spray paint. So I went to I think it was like the dollar store, not even the thrift store. It's like Dollar General, I think it was. Yeah, because you can get everything that you need there. So I went to Dollar General, picked out a couple shirts. This one looked cool, obviously, and picked up a bottle of bleach and a can of spray paint. And the lady looks at me real weird as I'm checking out. And I was like, I'm going to make tie-dye shirts. Kind of shakes her head and gets But I go through and I do the tie-dye, and let's see if we can show off the back here without. There we go. So I did this one doesn't have the back done really well, but anyway, you can obviously see the tie-dye, but you can also see why people don't use bleach to tie-dye.
Oh yeah, okay.
Bleach eats away at shirts.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So I'm at Bonnaroo one year, and I'm wearing this shirt as I'm walking around, and someone's like, oh man, I love that band. And I was like, this is a band? That's awesome.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so geez, my printer is like freaking out for some reason, but so yeah, I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And then Nick was like, yeah, I love that band. I was like, yeah, I didn't even know this was a band until I was walking around in Bonnaroo. But yeah, so apparently they are. Social Distortion, right?
Yep. Mike Ness is the lead master there.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I like their shirt.
I was so upset to hear. It can be our robot news story of the day, but
Oh,
Crazy
robots.
Russian robots. They've arrested them now. They've gone all haywire, and now they've been handcuffed and arrested by the police officers. It's so, it's
Handcuffed it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Handcuffed it a
I don't
robot.
know what to make of all this. Either the
I would
Russians
make
are very paranoid against robots, or they do truly
They should
believe that the
be.
robots are recording
I saw Terminator.
the public's information and somehow, breaching their privacy or something like that. Um, there might be some legal grounds for what they did in Russia, but it sounds a
come
little
on.
weird to me. And the other interesting part is that this is the same robot, the same or at least the same type of robot that escaped twice previously.
Yeah.
That and tried to get away and go out into the streets and stuff like that, despite
They were,
being quote unquote reprogrammed. Um,
they were
Go ahead.
From what I didn't read the whole article, but I just saw it and I was like, I thought I skimmed it and saw that they said that somebody had radicalized the robot.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, robots
Radicalized.
just following whatever the operator programmed into it. So,
Exactly, and who knows what they could have been. The robot could have been programmed to do. It could have been a terrorist robot.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could have. I really, I don't
Killing
know.
in the name of.
The whole handcuffs on the robot, though, I thought was.
That's
That
what I was
well,
thinking the most ridiculous is that they handcuffed
Dun,
him.
dun.
Can't they just turn it off, right? I mean, cut the power, take out the battery, whatever. There's other ways of. I don't think the handcuffs are going to be the best approach for a machine that
well,
can
Well, I guess.
break
Yeah.
out of the
I'm sure
handcuffs.
arresting robots wasn't in their handbook.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm also. I mean, what kind of
And the
hydraulics and technology and raw material was this robot constructed of, and the arms.
I mean,
Built
this
with.
is
I
not
mean,
an offensively constructed robot, from what I understand. But
if it was a robot that was made of like little like chopsticks or something, I mean, then that is going to handcuff quite well.
in similar news, there was a robot that was recently used by U.S.
Robot.
police forces to disarm a suspect. It actually got his gun when he was not paying attention or something to that effect.
I guess you wouldn't be paying attention to a robot approaching you to take your gun.
But
It unleashed a cloud of deadly nerve gas.
well, he was in the middle of a standoff with the police. But yeah, he didn't notice. He didn't notice that the robot had done until he went to, I guess, go when he noticed the gun was missing. That's when he knew.
We're never going to get to this WinPE thing, by the way. I'm sorry, Brantley.
We probably ought to get that going.
Yeah, I don't know why Michael brought up robots.
I like robots.
Let's
You
talk.
did have another bit of news, Brantley.
I do, and this is actually like rather important news. But 1 second, let me get this set up here.
I was just looking at the security updates that Windows wants me to restart about today, because I defer everything for a while, and it's like everything's about object code execution and memory protection, things like that. Kind of scary. Like, makes me want to go install it and retest all of our software. But one was actually pretty interesting. This is actually probably the only one I felt like was worth, because everything else is just kind of like, well, if it's your computer, just leave people alone. But that one was all about basically attacks through Internet Explorer and Edge. Not like anyone uses that, but
Well, they all have it, so.
yeah. Well, you'd still have to use it to go to a website, and then the
Oh.
website could but the website could manipulate the browser and actually run code on your machine without your knowledge, and that's the scary part. Those are the vulnerabilities we like to keep at bay, I would say.
Yeah. That doesn't sound fun. All right, well, I am set up and ready, but let's first mention our big news is we have a updated QuickHash out there that has some nice options. You can enable, disable which hashing you want to do and saves to a config file. We were doing registry settings before. It'll even convert those to a config file if it detects them, and working really well. This improves the speed and performance of it even more because you can uncheck the harder to compute hashes that you might not need, or only focus on that harder to compute hash. So kind of nice there, and Michael did a pretty good job on that. So congrats, Michael. Otherwise,
I also saw some improvements with the thread processing as well. So take a look and test it out, and yeah, give us some feedback if you could. And thank you for mentioning that. And I believe we have a dual release today, don't we?
yeah, and that's what my other news was, is we have the CryptoPrevent beta out with the HoneyPot detection available. So if you've seen our video for that, which is also on that page that I just linked there, you can check it out, and yeah, you'll be able to use the HoneyPot detection. It's still labeled as a beta feature, so you have to go in and manually enable it under a custom setting. Also did a whole bunch of UI tweaks and updates and polishes, so getting very close to the release point, I feel. So looking good there. Definitely test that out. Feel free to let us know if you have any issues or questions about it, and I'll get you the QuickHash link here as well. Actually, the QuickHash link is linked from that page too, because I added the hashes for the downloads. But this is the direct link for it. And speaking of adding links, that's one more thing that I can add here. So let me get this up. Minimize you. All right, so one more link.
Phoenix is not in it, but he later in the week reminded me to mention to him about this.
Okay.
Probably want
Just need it linked to links. You know what I'm saying?
A link to links?
Yes. We could link to links, you know, instead of like I have actually like 10 links right now, say, for various, you know, different the security vulnerability. Like when you go look at the Windows update, you know, then you have to click another link, then click another link, and then finally you get to a page that has a list of other links, and then you click each one of those. And then it's cumulative update, and then you get to those other links, and you have to click another link to go to the right page, and then there's always the page anchor, which you can include a link there. So anyway, I have like 10 different links that I could have posted this morning instead of that one, which is really the most interesting anyway, I guess. But yeah, so like if we had like a page of links, then we wouldn't have to hammer the thing, you know, once we can have them prepared ahead of time, just link to the page periodically.
Yeah.
We don't know, you do the show notes afterwards anyway, but it would be kind of like a, I don't know, never mind. Well,
we'd have to know all the
that's what I
links
meant.
prior to, and that's
We know a lot of them,
that's always our issue, though.
and you can always update the post. You know.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see if we can do this Pete thing.
Oh wait, I can link to my one tab.
You could.
Dang.
All right. Let's see if we can do this, Michael. I'm gonna have you switch to the single person view and lock it on me. So just right click and pin me, actually. And let me see how this looks on the stream. You're going to have to adjust it and resize it. You can actually take the chat off and just have mine.
There.
Cool.
Silly me.
Are you doing that, Michael? Are you muted?
Probably. And
Yeah, you were.
oh, that's not quite as good as I wanted, but
You can take the whole chat thing off.
oh, that's right. You said I could take it. All right, so let me just put this up here. No, I don't want to see that. And something like, oops, this. Why can't I see the top? That's weird.
What top?
There's the speakers at this across the top. They're not showing up in the stream, but they are showing up in window. That's so weird. I think it has something to do with the way it displays that bar.
No, I set it so that it doesn't. My stream doesn't have the speakers. It just shows the person currently speaking.
Well, anyway, do your thing.
Well, it's like really small still. You can't make that the full size, at least the full width of the screen. No, yeah. Just gonna move the mouse around.
Try and hold on. It won't let me stretch that out any larger. So let me remove that. I'll try to re-add it in a better way. Let me see. Let's try just capturing. Ooh, that's still gonna cut off a part of that, but that's. I think maybe that'll be better. Let's just try capturing like that, and maybe now I can get it a little bit bigger. What do you think about that?
We'll see here in a second when the stream catches up. See, you added it. There we go. Now we can actually see stuff on my screen. All right, that looks good. All right, so I was doing some research on this, of course, and we had previously mentioned to Futures Tech Cherie, who shout out to the one that gave us this idea to do this show. So we had previously mentioned WinBuilder was probably your best alternative if you wanted to try to build a Windows PE CD, and I was actually going off of what we have for ours, which I'll post a link to that here as well. That Nick had done actually a little while ago about building a PE CD. And trying to get the link for that. Uh-oh, my dog's going crazy. Sorry. Oh, that's not the search terms I was looking for.
Your dog's going insane.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Why is my... Oh, because the stream's behind. That's really weird, trying to watch that and do this. All right, so we have a link for it. Why can I not find that link? Oh, there we go.
Speaking of weirdness, I was trying to manipulate the Ring Central window by working with, or manipulate the X, or not the what do you call it? The streaming.
The
software.
thing.
What do you call it? What's the software we use to stream?
Oh goodness, who cares?
XSplit Broadcaster, yeah. So XSplit, and I was in the Ring Central window. It's kind of a mirror effect.
Oh, well, now the YouTube looks all terrible, but the Twitch looks okay. And stupid, it's impossible to share my screen and have it look good.
Looks okay, but you're not doing anything with your shared screen so far.
Well, no, I'm looking at the stream on YouTube and it looks terrible.
It's a little tiny, but I can't do it much. You're gonna have to lower your resolution or something for me to.
No, it looks, well, no,
Or
it's
maybe zooms.
no, it was YouTube. It automatically adjusted to a crappy quality. All right, it looks fine now. All right, so sorry about that. So we have a page here that walks you through building a Windows PE 5.1 boot CD, and I believe that is built off of Windows 8.1.
Yeah.
And that one is fairly easy to go through and work with, so that's going to be the one we're going to start off with here, because looking into the WinBuilder, it was not as easy or nice and customizable as I remember.
I remember it being confusing and difficult.
Well, I remember like having a whole bunch of projects you could do, like an actual window that you could use, and apparently the latest version they completely did away with all that. So this is our page here. We can click this to download this version, and we'll go ahead and save that. And while that's downloading, we'll go back and look at the next requirements. So once we run and extract that, we'll click the source button to select our target and ISO directories. And we'll want to have an extracted 32-bit version, and that is a very big point of it. PE is not very good with 64-bit version, so
there's actually no reason to use one unless you specifically have code that only runs on 64-bit, which is almost never the case.
Yeah, if you're in a PE place, especially.
Yeah, there is no reason to use one because there isn't. You're not subject to the limitations that you would be from a 32-bit app on a 64-bit system anyway, because you're running from a 32-bit environment. I mean, your target's always the offline version of Windows, so it doesn't really matter what that is. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Confuses some people, I guess, but it's just use 32-bit.
That is definitely the better option. And let's see if I have a 8.1 CD that is 32-bit. I should. So I've built this before. All right, that's open, so let's go ahead and extract it. Welp, I can only find the 60. Oh, no, there we go. We got an 8-bit. So, all right, so that's extracting. I'm going to insert a Windows 8 CD here. And those are here. Here. Yeah. All right, so we got a Windows 8 CD in there, and this is about 5 seconds away from extracting. All right, so that is extracted. We're going to follow along the steps here. Got our 32-bit there, explains more about what we just said, and let's go ahead and just start up WinBuilder. And we'll go to source and set our source directory as this CD here. And those are all set. So this is kind of like the easier version of Windows 7.1 that they have as well. I tried doing that and just doing a blank one. It did not work out as well as I had hoped. So we'll just do this one for now. But basically with this, you set your paths that you want it to come out in and pull from. So your source is your Windows CD inversion. Your target directory is where it's going to aim for, and then your ISO is where it's going to be extracted and named. And then on the left side, the script, you can go through and set up all of your tweaks and settings and bits and pieces. And I'm actually going to go ahead and close out of here because I am almost positive it's going to give me an error about running from a Windows profile directory. So we're going to cut it out of here. Go to our root drive where I had set up a folder just for this stuff. Now we'll run it from there. All right, so can we make this bigger? Yeah, we can. All right, so main config, you can go through and choose some options here. I like this one where you can set what your screen resolution is going to be. That's a little bit nicer. You can say how the boot menu is going to come up, the boot manager skin, and all kinds of other fun stuff here. Then can do image configuration.
Can you go back to the previous screen for a second?
Yep.
What's the options for boot manager?
ISO, Linux, BCDW, standard, and auto.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Just wanted to look at that.
Yep. But then basically through each of these, all of this is built off of scripts, so it's just going through and running a script, and you can add and remove scripts just by checking and unchecking if you want to do that. But you can then go through and look through each one of them and kind of walk through whatever you want to change or adjust and things like that. Things like your theme, if you want to do that. I like to switch to Arrow Light and that. Oh, that's not cool. But yeah, it's kind of nice. It is a little bit wonky if you want to change things. You really wouldn't have to change any of this. You could actually just go ahead and hit start once you set your source, and it'll go through and build it, but just kind of showing off some of the options that they got here. And is that your little tool that you like, Michael? Classic Shell?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Your malware overlay.
That's cute.
So you can add some of these things. Yeah, your malware entry point. Like the C++ runtime, that's nice to have. And those would be nice to have, especially for D7.2 that has to install some of those, or one of those, and same for whatchamacallit, anything that we use that has Chillcat has to have C++. And then got some other things like your apps and tools you can go through and set here. Oh, you can add Flash, because who doesn't need Flash in a bootable environment? Yeah, so you got lots of stuff that you can do here, and the biggest thing I'd probably point out is drivers. You probably do want to go through and check through these. And looks like this one actually adds a whole bunch of them, so that's kind of already good off here.
Double driver. Just immediately makes me think of Double Dragon.
Yeah. Is this all right? This is probably the one that you really want to focus on. Driver integration is that you can add specific drivers to it, and I would recommend going out and getting the oh man, what are those things called? That driver packs. So if you haven't heard of driver packs, here is driverpacks.net and downloads, and from there you can download a bunch of different driver packs. I really wouldn't recommend going through and doing all of them, but I would recommend doing the LAN and mass storage ones, and probably the WLAN. That's going to take care of most of your SATA drivers, your network cards, and wireless cards, so that all that stuff will just work once you boot into the PECD. It is going to make your ISO much bigger, but really at this point, you're probably going to be using a flash drive anyway. So copying your ISO to a easy to boot something like that would probably be the easiest route to go, and get it set up like that. But you want to have all the drivers available and ready for you. So you can add other OSs. So if you wanted to go ahead and make this its own easy boot style, you can add a bunch of other images to be used, and some other nice little tools like Party Magic, mem testing, XPPE. So you can even set up a BART PECD if you had one of those previously and add that in. Hirons is a pretty popular PE based disk that slightly illegal for the way they distribute code. So can enable PAE if you need that feature for some of your programs. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you're going to use older computers or less powerful computers. Like my ebook over there does not have PAE on it, so it can't do that. That's one of the first generation Atom processors. You can do virtual tests even and write the CD. And then you got some other utils. Do we got these enabled? Yeah, so those were just added there. So, all right, so that's really all you have to do is just go through it, and you can adjust and customize and tweak and do whatever you want there. But really, you don't have to do any of that. You can just go what's there, set your source, and hit play. And we'll go ahead and let it run here. God, Windows is really wanting to make sure I know I'm running something. All right, so that is going away.
You know, Brantley, you could have unchecked that box and it wouldn't have forced you to click yes, 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 yes.
That's only for this one specific file. Is that just going to be this file over and over again? Looks like it. Good call, Michael.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you know, it's... I vaguely remember using this at some point in the past, this tool. It's not very familiar to me, but I think I might have experimented with it about 7 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, then the reason why this tool is a little bit nicer is that Microsoft essentially made it so you could do your own PECDs, but it doesn't have any of these nice features or tools in there. So that's kind of the downside of using the Microsoft route. But that is normally what you'll find come up first off here.
There's a question. When the way this does it, at least, what's the file system that's set up? Is it a FAT32 file system that's set up on the P drive? I believe that it might be. So just beware if you're, and you know, the file size limitations, things of that nature. If that's if that's something you need to deal with in the environment. So I don't know if it's possible to reconfigure it, but I'm pretty sure the default file system for a PE build is FAT32 to allow flash drive use and stuff like for.
Yeah, it goes for more of the compatibility version than the usability side. So
yeah,
that makes sense. I'm posting a few links that kind of all do their own way of describing the Windows AIK way of setting up things and doing things. So you can check those out if you're more interested in going at it from scratch. But as Roberdesk pointed out, he downloaded the driver pack ISO, and it's a full 11 gigs. So yeah, it is quite a bit there. I honestly do not recommend their applications. They have an application to let you install on a computer, and it scans for any unknown drivers and then offers the driver from the driver packs that you have installed to that application. However, it is kind of all in Russian last time I looked, and it like injects ads and stuff in places, so I definitely do not recommend that one. But yeah, it's kind of nice having all the drivers available. And actually, if you ever have a bunch of issues with drivers, downloading your driver packs is a very highly recommended, because you can usually find most of them in there. You might have to do a little bit of work to get it going though, so just keep that in mind. All right, so this is on 6 of 66, and it's got a long way to go there. So I was looking for a different tool that I had remembered we had looked at or mentioned at least on a previous show, and it's called HoneyPot Builder. And this one works a little bit differently, a little bit easier even, honestly. It doesn't need your Windows CD or source. It actually does everything straight off the host system. So that's a little bit nicer in setup way. It can be done from 7 or 8. I'm not sure if they have support for 10, but I would imagine 10 would be pretty nice. Yep, and Roverdesk agreed with me that the driver pack app is not worth what it adds. So, but I ended up finding and remembering the name based off this page, which actually goes through and tells you a couple different ones that I hadn't heard of. Apparently, Paragon has a rescue kit that's free and based off PE and has some pre-done things that you can look at. I'm going to put that page over here so we can all look at it together, because that is still going. So Paragon Rescue Kit 14 has some interesting things here. Doesn't look like you can just get to a straight desktop and run programs, but you got some virtual disk backup, and which that's really nice if you're trying to save a computer. Post-mortem backup, post-mortem restore. I'm not sure if all of these tools are free or not. That would be interesting to find out, but you can load drivers, set up network, and looks like they go with the Metro style of doing things. So, but I'm sure their way of building it's much, much easier. Then you also got Lay's Soft Recovery Suite Home Edition, and that gives you some nice little features there to build a PE disk. And this is the one that we're going to try out after our setup here, because this one is fairly easy and nice to work with. And then Gandalf's Windows 8.1 PE CD is fairly nice. It gives you a whole bunch of stuff already preloaded. Pretty much you're just downloading the ISO and starting it off right there. This is by far your easiest route to go if you want to set something up and get something going fairly.
I should point out that, you know, most people can't see the chat right now in the video stream. Is with your screen share not very well, can they?
We can't see what you're showing off.
What?
We can't see what you're showing off.
Yeah.
All we got's the progress
No.
bar.
What are you talking about?
So, in other words, you're showing links. Right?
Okay. I see. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. No, I got you. It's because it's not taking the screen; it's taking the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It did a Michael way of sharing my screen.
So you might want to just briefly mention over some of those again, or
well, the IRC has the link for the one that I had put in there, and then this is the page. There's the Paragon. Looks nice, pretty. The Lays Soft looks like it might be easy. The AOMEI we'll get back to. And the...
Is there any implied pronunciation of that word? Aomi, something like that, or?
Probably.
Okay.
I think in the future we're just going to be able to spell things out or say them. So it is going to be any or INI file in the future. And probably you can like vice versa those, and that's what future speak's going to be.
Well, in future speak, I'm going to have the .any file, and you're going to get all confused.
Well, maybe it'll be a future that we're not there for. So,
Probably, because you'll misinterpret some other warning speak about some imminent danger, and you'll be eradicated.
yeah. So WinBuilder is the last one on this page. This is the Gandalf's. That one I have used before. It is pretty nice. So check it out if you're interested. They do offer. He offers a 32-bit and a 64-bit one. The 64-bit one, some of the programs don't work quite right, but last I was checking, he was updating it fairly often. So that one is pretty decent to look at. It is free from pirated programs, so it's got only free or trial versions. So you can check that out. And WinBuilder, this is why I was not too impressed with it, is because it has basically just a command line interface to try to do all this. And as if building a Windows PE CD was not hard enough already, doing it from the command line does not make it any easier. So this is the base off that you can see that we're using for the 8.1 off the 82 version. So you can see those. And like I said, we're going to try out the AOME or AOMEI next. But let's see where ours is standing here, and it's waiting on this stupid prompt. I don't see why they're having it download through IE anyway, but whatever. How do I turn that prompt off in IE? Isn't there a button? Internet options.
What prompt?
Security.
What?
Low.
You don't get low anymore. What prompt?
The prompt to run if downloaded. Yeah, it's somewhere in this area.
Oh. You don't want to run?
I just want to run. I don't want it to prompt me and ask me if I want to run anymore.
Oh, well, now you can do that.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Tell me what's dangerous.
Internet Explorer. Using that's dangerous. Talked about that earlier.
Yeah,
An update you need to install.
This one has all its updates. It's good.
Does it have the one I posted earlier?
Ooh, oh, I just saw this announced. It looks like in the next couple of weeks, Samsung is going to release their 960 EVO. Now, I have an 850 EVO, and I believe a couple of us, others of us here as well, have that. And it's a great drive. The 960 though is basically bringing the EVO line into the M2 and the NVMe interface and form factor. So it should be economical. It should be the first. I believe it might be the first economical M2/NVMe drive out there. The 950
Crazy
Pro,
change
which
of
is
subject ever.
currently out.
Yeah.
By the way, did you say that you had that on the? Because that update I posted earlier was for all versions of Windows for Internet Explorer.
I updated it on their patch Tuesday, so I believe it should.
Okay.
Hopefully it should. I'm not running any of those pages.
Dangerous. It's still dangerous using the Explorer.
It is, but it's a lot of work to install Chrome on a blank version of Windows. So.
Yeah. But you should have that done already.
Not if I want a blank version of Windows. Start off with.
Mostly blank.
I don't trust Google anyway.
There are some
I
things
do a
you
bunch
need.
of
I couldn't trust Google either, but there are some things you need, like 7-zip, and just, you need some utilities on there that work.
You don't need anything on there, actually. Windows works
Hey,
just great without any utilities.
yeah, if you're using it for Windows things that have nothing to do with work.
No, actually setting up all this stuff, the only one I needed 7-zip for was the Windows 7 Easy PE.
You'll need it for anything I send you because Windows doesn't support encrypted zips. It only supports password protected zips. It's a totally different thing.
That's true.
You try to extract an encrypted zip with a password, it's not going to work.
That's true, but I wouldn't put whatever you send me directly on a blank Windows. So it's extracted on my system, then on my blank window.
Fair enough.
So I prefer my blank windows be blank, which is what I expect. So I can be like, oh, well, it's obviously something else that's bothering it. Like I've had to tell Michael several times. All right, so this is almost done and going through here. And then it's probably going to take a little bit to build its version there. Hey, Futures Tech Eric. Blank insert swear word here. Rover Desk, I've seen that driver pack offline. I don't know. I feel better off with just having the driver packs there and then extracting them myself, and then Windows 7 through 10 automatically searches subfolders, so that makes it a lot easier. The difficulty I was having was with Windows XP. You have to browse folder by folder to search for driver stuff. So Futures Tech Eric has a quick D72 question. Go for it.
Rocket.
Shoot.
Don't shoot. Just type.
Machine that seems to be spending an awfully long time writing to the hard disk. Okay. So I mean, right off the bat, I'm guessing.
Don't guess. It's like that would be never mind.
I mean, there's not too many things that a hard drive cause reading writing to be slow. It's post startup and nothing but background programs are running, and just takes an awfully long time to write to the hard disk. Let's go ahead and start off with you've run a hard drive test on it, and everything passed and no errors there. And then you've run a file system check, so check disk style on it, and everything ran, no errors there.
Okay, so slow down. What operating system is this? Because I've been seeing some interesting activity with Windows 10 and the indexing and some other things that it's doing. And I'm just curious if this is an older system or if it's a newer one, or what its history is.
Their compressed memory writes to the disk a whole lot too.
What does it just mean slow, or is it really writing to the disk? There are those what are those options in Device Manager with the whole, I've got a headache.
The cache buffering?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, the
Right cache buffer flushing.
DMA or whatever it's called for.
Oh, that doesn't apply anymore.
There's a command line to use.
That's not
Oh
an issue.
no, it's a sysinternals utility. It's like that flushes cache to the disk. But you can disable that too and have it write directly.
CC Cleaner monitoring.
Uh-oh.
You monitor with CC Cleaner now? I don't know if I would do that.
I don't like CC Cleaner at all.
I
Okay.
I don't like it when it
What
tries
version?
to registry.
Okay. So what version of Windows, Eric? Because
I don't believe in what it does. Registry-wise, especially. Even temp folder cleanup, I think, shouldn't be taken lightly because there are files in there that are actually used by programs. They're not just junk. But even across reboots. Always reboot twice. I would say that too, by the way, when doing something. It's because some of those files, before clearing a temp and things like that, some of those files are expected to be there on the subsequent reboot when you do it.
All right, well, our PECD built and it's under ISO and we have it here, so let's go ahead and load it. I would like to point out that you can
What does it monitor? I'd be afraid. Thank you, Glenn. 21st century snake oil. Registry cleaners. Agreed.
and I'll load up the little bit more customized version that I've made of it, and let's see if that one works.
Man, we're bombarding him with info and questions and put downs on registry cleaners. So let's let him type out.
Yeah. Eric, if I would say it doesn't relate to any of that stuff, I would say that your first option is run a hard disk diag on it. If that all passes, run a file system check on it. If that all passes, try replacing the IDE or SATA cable. And if that all passes, then probably just replace the hard drive because
you can always, yeah, and in that process there have been times now where a hard drive diagnostic in the past would never ever detect a problem, no bad sector, no slow this or that, and yet cloning the system to a new drive and it runs marvelously. Even cloning it back, because you're expecting that contiguous write of data, and even cloning it back to the existing, would increase the performance. But even cloning it back to the existing drive, it runs like butt again. So I'm just to point out that those hard drive diagnostics are not always proper.
Yeah.
Kind of like memory tests, they only point it out when it's an obvious issue. That HDD scan program for Windows was really awesome for detecting what it called slow sectors, where certain sectors of the drive would not be marked bad by a diagnostic utility, but they were slower than other sectors to read and write to relative to the position on disk of those other sectors. So I thought that was really cool. But then, like, the software seems like it was bundled with some malware or something maybe at some point, and every time you ran the software, 64-bit Chrome would not launch until you rebooted. It was weird. Quit using it after that. But.
All right. Well, our Windows PECD is there, and you can even go in and edit the ISO for things and change things like the background and add programs that you want to run. Like I think this one I did do that with a ISO editor and put D7 in there. Nope, I didn't do it on this one.
Well, now it works. Does it work fine in the shop, Eric? You're saying you put it back on site and then the light stays solid for half an hour and it drags. Only on site? Yeah, it makes me think something about the customer's network.
I like how he started this off with I have a Windows a D72 question, and
I know, yeah.
he's like, "Hey guys, focus and pay attention on what I'm talking about."
No D72, but
Just kidding. All right, Michael, you can go back to the other way. You didn't do that as a scene, did you? Now you have to reset everything back.
Yeah, just give me a
did we finish the WinPE thing? I'm sorry, I got started.
We did.
It's the hour anyway.
It is the hour. That's why I said we're done.
I have a
I
headache.
did create it and I showed it. So I would suggest if you want an easiest way, the AOMEI is a fairly nice way to do it. WinBuilder is a nice way if you follow our blog, and Gandalf's is a nice one if you just want to straight download one, although I question the legality of that because you're not supposed to be distributing Windows PE as far as I'm aware. So,
well, Eric, when you put it back, does the user use the machine in the time that it takes for the machine to get messed up again, or that's number one on my mind. Also, other PCs on the network. We have bad something about network traffic that'll really mess up a machine.
So there he goes. He relates it back that he's trying to use D72 to fix it.
Yeah. Well, apparently he does, but he takes it back on site and. Michael, you should do something about that before you die.
But fix the stream first, because that's more important.
For the audience, those are just warning beeps. His sugar's getting wacky or something. Right?
something to that effect.
You're like a bionic man. That thing hooks directly into your belly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a straight up Spinal Tap, actually.
He has a machine attached to his body.
If y'all have seen The Matrix, those cords that they show in their pods,
Yeah.
that's what Michael has right off the bat.
That's slimy too when I crawl out of it. Yeah.
So, Eric, you're saying that this machine does not show this setup or side effect at your office? Like you'll run it for full days and no issues until you take it back directly and hook it up to the network at the office? Because, I mean, if that's the case, obviously you're looking at a device that's attached to it when you get it back to the office, or the network and something there. Like,
Yeah, I'd start looking at network traffic and see what's hitting the network interface on that machine. Right?
Managed IPs, things, or managed antivirus and updates like Zeus and all that stuff.
But you know, there's another thing, and since you mentioned BSOD, there is another thing that I would mention. It's probably not. I wouldn't imagine it would be like causing major hard drive running and stuff. But many times in the past, we've had systems that worked at the shop and then would BSOD randomly or do crazy things at customers' houses. And it usually ended up being a power-related issue that a UPS fixed. Sometimes it was the machine being on the same circuit as a air conditioner or a heavy refrigerator that would cycle on and off and things like that. But just side note, don't think that's your. It's usually there's always an environment element to it.
Yeah, the
which
power
is
thing.
Obviously, your case. Yeah.
Power thing is definitely an idea there.
Well, for him, you know, with the hard drive light just constantly running on site, I wouldn't imagine power having anything to do with that, you know. But you know, the BSOD and lockups and things like that, yes, definitely.
Well, doesn't Process Explorer show you what tasks are using hard drive?
Yeah, you're gonna have to figure that stuff out. Still, I like monitor the network activity too.
Well, that's what I was saying. I thought Process Explorer showed all that stuff, doesn't it?
It should no. I don't think it shows now. Well, it will for I guess maybe certain process. Well, there's another utility for that anyway. You know, I use Nearsoft. There's something. Seaports is one. There's another. There's a couple things you can use.
Yeah, those fun issues like that are what I used to love being in a tech shop for.
Yeah. At least Eric, he said he's seen issues like that with that power related. I love those issues really because it's always like 3 or 4 times that the customer comes back before you figure it out. Yeah.
Like those kind of issues are what made it so that I wanted to go into the tech shop every day. Stuff
Yeah.
issues like that to try to figure them out, because otherwise it just got boring.
Yeah.
Replacing power supplies.
That is true. Well, the hassle that I'm thinking of is explaining to the customer and then dealing with the customer across multiple times, you know.
So, and that brings up another side, is that like having a replacement system, especially for your business customers, is always a good idea. Proctor, do you do that?
I didn't hear you, Brantley. What'd you say?
Do you have like a replacement system that you can just loan out to them?
A loaner.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Because that's what I would normally do if I had an issue like that and I wanted to focus on it and figure it out. Then I would give them a loaner, and that kind of also rules out the environmental issues, because then if they're on a different system entirely and they're seeing the same issue, then you kind of know at that point it's environmental and not at the system itself. But
just to clear up to Eric, and I didn't mean the UPS would be the issue, which frequently it is actually when there is one, but I meant it's something that a UPS could usually fix if it were just plugged straight into the wall, some stuff like that. But it's one of those things where you need a UPS with voltage regulation that most consumer models or lower end models don't have. So just telling someone to get a UPS usually is a bad idea for me. And once you start spitting out model numbers, or going and buying them for the customer, but that's not your situation, obviously, anyway. So. Did it ever have malware on it at all, or like what with the D7.2? What are we doing specifically that fixes it, or do you just run a gambit of things with it and it works later? It may be worth trying to figure out what specifically if you don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Man. You need more detective work. It's a network, hard drive. Hard drive's okay in the shop. It's a network. So other processes and machines on the network, how it's configured. Oh, okay.
Well, and I do want to say, Eric, you bring some awesome issues like that to us, so I do appreciate that. We at least get a little taste of it. Unfortunately, we don't have the answers right off the bat on most of the issues you bring up.
Oh, yeah.
But you're a great tech because you come back and you say you found the answers.
Well, that's because the issues he brings up are usually mysteries to great techs. So, duh. He's not going to bring us some stuff, that we can just know.
He could, though. That would make us.
Well, he could, but just make us feel all smart and stuff. No need for that.
You're welcome. That's honestly why we're here too, is to answer questions with the collective heads that we have here. So that is helpful, and hopefully some of those might help for you. It's got to be something that helps any. All right. Well, do we have anything else for that? Yeah. No. Maybe so.
Len points out that my run of Windows 10 not booting issues is officially a mystery. He's suggesting that the GPD partitions are damaged or corrupted.
And that's a issue where he's had upgrades to Windows 10 that once he upgrades and reboots, it does not boot anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Microsoft recently documented an issue that would prevent computers from booting after some of the updates that that they have. Let me see if I can find that for you.
Wasn't that Petya or something that encrypted the MBR?
Yeah, and there's actually another one that came out way long ago, but apparently is making a comeback.
Or something.
HDDCryptor
Hmm.
does the same thing where he writes the MBR. Where did my next chat go? There we go.
I wonder how much of a mystery it actually is. Are these machines perhaps like all, OEM big box with some funky partitions on it or something? Do they still do that with 10? Is that what?
Yeah, they still have the system restore partitions or the recovery partition.
This would depend on how they're being, done. I know Microsoft tests and works with like Dell, but they may not, and like HP, but they may not with others.
They are all OEM PCs, he says.
Well,
There's
I
a
just wonder
specific
because
thing on Dell's site about this, by the way.
There's some funky stuff in there, with that may not jive. I guess it's entirely possible that Microsoft isn't working with the OEMs as closely as they used to be on junk like that, but do you have a link for that, Michael?
He posted 20 fixes.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but some of that is useful, at least in checking to see if it's updates related. No, that's not Dell. I'm trying to find that. One moment.
Well, I just wonder if something was sitting on the system that had modified boot record in any way, or that the Windows 10 update would, trigger the issue. If it would, okay, that last statement, Glenn, is really difficult for me to understand. That must be Australian for foobar.
So,
I picked it up that it had a mouse living in it, and it also had.
Okay, thank you. Oh, that is horrible. Keep. Good all secure boot.
And by number 2, I mean reboot into BIOS and enable CMS boot. That's what some people are suggesting for
CMS boot.
It's the so what does it stand for? there's 3 types of boot modes. I believe that's supported in UEFI.
Compatibility support module.
Yeah. Now, this was actually recommended on for Toshiba, but I think it might relate. And it's probably impacts.
He's done the rebooting to BIOS.
Well, that's not the meat of it.
No, he said he's done that on 2 machines. I thought he was saying I've done that on number 2, but saying he did it on 2 machines. Still the same issues.
Okay. Just a thought.
So, yeah. All right. Well, we got through Windows PE building, and we'll have all those links again. Thanks to Future Tech Cherie, who gave us the idea for that Monday segment. Sorry if it's not the best one. I kind of wanted to do it as a free flow to see how easy or hard it would be. And just having done some of the research a little bit earlier, finding out some various options we could try, seems like the one that Nick posted on his page is probably the best and easiest one. That's going to build off a Windows 8.1 CD. If you want a Windows 7 one specifically, then you have to go to the WinBuilder Easy PC 7 or the AOM EI, I believe, and those will get you a Windows 7 one. I would suggest checking out the AOM EI. It is super, super easy and fairly easy to work with, and yeah. So, all right. Well, I think we should wrap up for today, unless anybody else had anything else. Later, Eric.
So, okay, so I've been reading here that a guy here suggests that it looks like Windows Updates modifies some UEFI boot settings. And there's actually, from what I'm seeing, if you
Considering you're
do
reading
the Windows,
off that on the link, can you post that link?
Okay, yeah.
Instead of just trying to interpret it.
Sure. Well,
because your interpretations are lacking.
Fine. So, the guy here, I mean, the fact that there's a UEFI firmware settings repair option in Windows Repair does seem to suggest what this guy is talking about, but I haven't seen that setting before.
We did, Cherie. We did do the Windows PE stuff today. And I'll have all of that stuff posted today. So check back on our YouTube later this afternoon, probably. So I gotta post the Thursday and Friday shows too.
I don't know. That may or may not be relevant, but just interesting. It doesn't necessarily. I mean, you can do what the guy said in that link, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to fix Glenn's particular issue. But it may be why people are, weirdly reporting the boot problems. The problem with it is, 1,000 people can report boot problems, and there still not be some collective reason for all of them on why it's happening. It's easy to discount a couple of cases, and unfortunately 1,000 cases aren't the huge number that Microsoft would need to admit something.
Well, he only restated 4 or 5 times there, so we're seeing how far he would go with it. All right, I think we should go ahead and wrap up for today so we can get all this uploaded and ready and going.
Yeah.
So we can check out the PE. Again, new version of QuickHash and new version of CryptoPrevent Beta, which has the HoneyPot detection that we showed off in a previous video. So check that out, test it out, let us know what your thoughts are, how it works, how it does, and otherwise, thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. And again, we are here mainly to provide support and answer any questions for our software and services, but we enjoy answering questions about anything else or just talking with our awesome chat members in general. So until next time. Take us on out, Michael.
Until